All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at something I think a lot of you are going to be really interested in.
Okay.
Some of you sent in a bunch of great books on sim racing,
Ah.
all about going faster in sim racing.
hmm
It's interesting because I think a lot of people think sim racing, oh, that's just a video game.
Right.
But really, a lot of these books that we're looking at today are used by actual, real race car drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fundamentals of race car driving apply whether you're
For those
on a
like-
virtual track or a real track.
Yeah.
Physics is physics.
Right.
And the techniques that you use to be fast are going to transfer over.
So we're going to give you guys a little shortcut here to getting up to speed quickly in your sim racing.
Absolutely.
So the first book I want to talk about is Going Faster, Mastering the Art of Race Driving.
A classic.
And this is by the Skip Barber Racing School.
Yeah.
Now what's cool about this is they've sort of combined the knowledge of all of their instructors, which are amazing. Some of the best instructors in the world. Yeah, some of the best in the world.
And also professional race car drivers.
Exactly, yeah.
Come up with kind of a complete resource for all levels of drivers.
Yeah, and you can learn a lot from this book, even if you're not a race car driver. If you just, like cars, and you want to understand how they work and how to drive them fast.
Yeah.
This is a great book to read.
Absolutely.
It covers everything from car control to racecraft
Yeah.
to, just understand the racing world in general.
And it's great because, it explains things in a way that anyone can understand.
Right.
Like, even if you have zero experience.
Yeah. One of the things I really appreciate about this book is how it breaks down complex
Yeah.
driving techniques like trail braking into easy to understand steps.
Oh, yeah.
It's something that a lot of drivers struggle with, but this book makes it so much easier to learn.
Yeah. And trail braking is something that can really make a big difference
Huge difference.
in your lap times
Yeah,
if you can master it.
absolutely.
Okay, so next up we have Speed Secrets by Ross Bentley. It's
Yeah.
another great one.
So Ross has been a professional race car driver
Oh.
and a race instructor for
Yeah.
years and years and years,
Yep.
and has worked with drivers all across different disciplines of racing.
Yeah.
And this book is really all about practical advice and drills that you can use to improve your driving.
Yeah, and while going faster, really emphasizes the physical skills of driving. Speed Secrets delves more into the mental side of things.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like visualization focus and dealing with the pressure of competition.
I mean, that's huge though, right?
Oh, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, your mental game can make or break you on the track.
Yeah, because if you're not focused, or if you're letting the pressure get to you,
Right.
you're going to make mistakes.
You got to make mistakes, and you're not going to be consistent.
Exactly.
And consistency is key in racing.
Okay, so let's say you've got the car control down, you've got the mental game down.
Okay.
The next step is to really understand the technical side of racing.
Okay.
And for that, we have Drive to Win by Carol Smith.
Excellent book.
So this book is like the nuts and bolts
Uh-huh.
of building a competitive race car and working with the team.
Yep. It covers everything from the ground rules to the techniques and procedures of driving perception and evaluation. And it's written by Carol Smith, who was a renowned race car engineer and designer.
Yeah, so he really knows his stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And this book, I think, is particularly valuable for sim racers who are interested in like the engineering side of things.
I'm sure.
Because you can actually, in a lot of sim racing games, you can really get into the nitty gritty of the setup.
Oh, yeah. You can
Yeah.
really fine-tune every aspect of the car.
Yeah, so this book will really give you a good understanding of what all those things do.
Right. And it'll help you to understand how to work with your team to develop and set up a competitive car.
All right, so now we're going to get into some really advanced stuff here.
Okay.
This is for the drivers who really want to push the limits. Driving on the Edge, The Art and Science of Race Driving. This is a book that explores the techniques used to drive a racing car at its absolute limit.
So this is not for the faint of heart.
No, but don't let the title intimidate you, because it's written in a way that's accessible to drivers of all levels.
And one of the things that I really appreciate about this book is its focus on understanding grip and how tires work.
Yeah.
It really goes in depth into how to feel the subtle cues that the car is giving you when it's about to lose traction.
That's some Jedi stuff right there.
Yeah, it's all about feeling the force.
Okay, and finally we have Driving Techniques, The Limit Skills and Secrets to Winning Races.
Okay.
So this is a book that really promises to unlock
Yeah.
hidden speed and help you shave seconds off your lap times.
Sounds promising.
And it really does. It covers everything from fundamental principles to very specific cornering techniques. And it's great because it really focuses on understanding why certain techniques work.
Yeah, it's not just a list of do this, do that. It actually explains the physics behind it so you can really understand why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and it even includes a corner-by-corner guide to some of the UK's most famous circuits, like Brands Hatch and Silverstone, and a section on advanced skills like drifting and J-turns.
Okay, so I'm curious, out of all the areas we've discussed today, from car control to mental preparation to technical setup to pushing the limits, what do you think would have the biggest impact on your sim racing performance? That's something to think about. And I encourage you to check out some of these books and experiment and see what works for you.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another Deep Dives. Today we're going to be talking about braking and steering dynamics. And the really interesting thing about this topic is that most people think of braking as one thing and steering as another.
Yeah,
But the truth is that they're incredibly linked.
they are.
And so today we're going to try and unpack the synergy between braking and steering for smoother, safer, and more controlled turns
Absolutely.
while we're driving. And all of this information comes from a piece on iRacing, which is a hyper-realistic racing simulator
Oh, yeah.
that a lot of real drivers, even Formula One drivers, use to train. So we're getting into like the nitty-gritty of racing here, and I think it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think it will be too, because most of us think about braking and steering as separate actions, like you said.
Right.
But there's actually like a secret sauce to expert level driving, and it involves mastering their interplay.
So tell me a little bit about this secret sauce.
Well, one of the core concepts is what we call the inverse proportionality principle. It might sound complicated, but it's pretty simple.
Oh.
As you increase your braking force, you actually need to decrease your steering input, and vice versa.
So as I'm braking more, I should be steering less.
Exactly. It's like a seesaw. As one side goes up, the other has to go down.
Got it.
Now, why is this, you might ask?
Yeah.
Well, think about what happens when you brake.
Okay.
The car's weight shifts forward, right?
Right.
This puts more pressure on the front tires, which are responsible for steering.
Okay.
So if you try to turn the wheel sharply while braking hard, you're basically asking those front tires to do two things at once.
Slow the car down.
Yeah,
And turn.
and they can't always handle that much stress.
Oh, so that's why sometimes when you brake hard and turn at the same time, the car feels like it's going to skid out.
Exactly. If you overload those tires, you lose grip, and that's when things can get a little hairy.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So basically, the harder you brake, the less you should steer, and vice versa to keep the car stable.
That's the idea.
So can you give me some specific examples of how this works in practice, like when I'm actually out there on the road?
Absolutely. Let's start with entering a turn.
Okay,
You always want to approach a turn with a plan.
of course.
Don't just yank the wheel at the last second.
Right.
So as you're approaching your turn, you want to start braking gradually and at the same time keep a light touch on the steering wheel.
Okay, so no sudden movements.
No jerky movements.
Okay,
Smooth is fast, smooth is safe.
I like that smooth is fast.
It is.
Okay, so I'm approaching the turn, I'm braking gradually, and keeping a light touch on the steering wheel. Now what?
Now as you ease into the turn, you want to gradually decrease your braking force
Okay.
while gently increasing your steering input.
Okay.
It's almost like a seamless handoff between the two actions.
Use handoff, okay.
You don't want to completely let go of the brakes and crank the wheel all at once.
Right.
Remember, it's all about maintaining that balance.
Okay, so I'm easing into the turn, decreasing braking, gently increasing steering. Got it. What comes next?
Now, as you're navigating the turn, the key is to avoid sudden movements of the steering wheel.
Right, so no jerking the wheel around.
No jerking.
Okay.
Smooth inputs will keep the car balanced and controlled.
So what about this thing I've heard of called trail braking? Is that what the pros do?
Ah, yes, trail braking.
Sounds fancy.
It is a more advanced technique, but it's incredibly effective.
Okay, tell me more.
Trail braking is all about maintaining a bit of braking pressure
Okay,
as you're turning into the corner.
okay.
It helps to keep the car balanced and allows you to carry more speed through the turn.
So I'm braking even while I'm turning.
Yes, but remember, the key word here is gradually.
Gradually.
You're not slamming on the brakes.
Right.
You're just maintaining a light pressure to help rotate the car.
Okay, so it's all about finding that sweet spot between braking and steering.
Exactly, it's like dancing with the car.
I like that.
You're working together to find the perfect rhythm.
Okay, so we've entered the turn, we've navigated through it smoothly.
Yeah.
What about exiting the turn?
As you approach the exit, You want to smoothly release the steering pressure
Okay.
and ease off the brakes completely.
Okay.
This allows the car to naturally straighten out
Okay.
and sets you up for a strong exit.
So the key here is to be patient and let the car do its thing.
Exactly. Don't rush the exit.
Okay.
Wait until the steering wheel is straight.
Okay.
And then you can start to progressively increase your throttle.
So it's like a gradual release of pressure.
Precisely. You want to feel the car regain grip and stability.
And then I can put the pedal to the metal.
Well, not quite to the metal, but you can start to accelerate more briskly.
Got it. So just to recap, the key takeaways here are precise entry, strong exit,
Yes.
stay calm and focused,
Absolutely.
and practice, practice, practice.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. So think about the last time you navigated a tricky turn. Maybe it was a sharp bend on a mountain road or a tight corner in a parking lot. How would applying these principles have made a difference in your control and smoothness? Something to think about next time you're behind the wheel. And until next time, drive safe and keep exploring the fascinating world of driving dynamics.